okay? So this is what they observed. Here's a human being. This human being is facing you, right? This is like me looking at you. And this is the observation that when human beings, when our brains are making internal visual representations, aka making pictures on the inside that we're almost never aware of because we're not supposed to be. It's like that pressing the H on the keyboard thing. We're not supposed to be aware of the process in the background. Otherwise, we couldn't live our lives in the foreground where we have our sense of I am. But it's the stuff in the background that determines what the experience in the foreground is or was or is going to be. So it's really nice to be able to get some access to the operating system process. And this is what lets us do that. There are a couple of other ways too. When human beings are making internal pictures of past material, what their eyes do is their eyes look up and to the left. This quadrant up here, I know this looks like a victim from some Jason Bourne movie. Okay, no, this is just visual. Remember, this is past pictures up here. That can't possibly be that categorical, can it? Yeah, it can. When our brain is making future pictures, our eyeballs move up and to the right. This is called visual construction. And there's some places along the middle that we won't fool around with today. Visual remember and visual construction. Visual construction is supposed to be about the future. Visual remember is always about the past. Visual construction is supposed to be about the future. But what it is my experience when I first started working with people, I noticed this and no one else had been paying attention to it. But I went, oh my God, this is incredibly important. One of the things our brains do to keep us safe in the future, at any point of now, to keep us safe in the future, is they take the pictures, not all the time, not every time, but pretty much for everyone sometime. Our brains take pictures past pictures, outside consciousness images that go with really difficult stuff, really stuff that was really difficult to survive, traumatic stuff. And they'll take those pictures, okay? And our brains, the interface between our creature brain and our human brain is incredibly buggy. Our brains take some of those images and they say, let's take some of these images and paste them into the future so that we can be sure to look out for that stuff, whatever that experience is, so we can make sure it doesn't happen again. This is part of, I'm going to be 100% categorical. This is an aspect of everyone's experience. But the effect of that is to take the past trauma and place it indefinitely in the future. So if here we are right now, let's put ourselves right now, and there's this past trauma that's been dropped into our future. As we go through life, it just floats out there in front of us, in front of us, in front of us, in front of us, in front of us. So if someone asks us some beautiful question that's designed to elicitate the most pure heart's desire that we have, and our eyeballs, because it's about future, our eyeballs flick up and to the right. And the eyeballs are like, they're an indicator of what the brain's doing, and they can also be used as a valve. If I want someone to look at a future picture, I'm going to ask them to look up this way, or just kind of gesture up there while I'm talking with them, and their eyes will follow my hands. If we have past negatives pasted up here, V's that produce negative K's, it's really hard to feel comfortable about the future, because in the future dwelleth some of the nastiest stuff from the past. Our brains aren't malfunctioning. They just think this is a really good way to keep an eye on stuff. I guess it works for the gazelles and the lions, right? But for humans, because we make meaning, we don't just have states and respond to the states with external behavior. We make meaning, and the meaning we make is about life and the world and ourselves. So that thing that lets brains take past and stick past in future, that's really a problem. Nevertheless, this is visual construction. That's what it's for, future. This is past. Down here, down into someone's left, when you see their eyes look down into the left, it's an indication they're talking to themselves. Do you know what they're saying to themselves? No. But if you watch them do that, I'll show you what it looks like. Watch this. It's very subtle. No, it's not subtle at all. And if I kind of go like that while I'm looking down there, this is an even bigger indication I'm talking to myself. This kind of on my chin, right? These are indications. These are cues that let us know what the person's system is doing on the inside, what it's doing, but not the content of what it's doing it about. If I see someone look at a past picture, I know they looked at a past picture. Their brain did. They didn't see it. They're not supposed to. They're the end user. They're not the operating system, okay, and et cetera, et cetera. But I know they just looked at a past picture. Do I know what's in it? No. But it's part of my work to, if it's important, to assist them to elicit some awareness of the content so that we can respect what's going on and make some revisions. Down and to the right is feeling. Looks like this. Or looks like this if you're row down. Okay. The boundary between feeling and internal talk is very, very permeable. So actually, feelings are sloppy, right? Let's face it. So the places where feelings are operating kind of splash, it's kind of all kind of down here. But there is a place over here where there's internal talk that is not happening along with the feelings. And then we have this midline that runs through the eyeballs. And when the eyeballs go over here, this is the brain listening to past soundtracks. I'll show you what it looks like. Looks like that. Right on the midline. And when the eyeballs go the other way, over to the right on the midline, it's an indication that their brain is, well, it's supposed to be listening to future sounds, like constructed soundtracks somehow. But most often it's not. Most often it's just taking really negative stuff from over there and pasting it into the future over here. Why would our brains paste negative stuff from the past into the future? To keep us safe. Our creature neurology doesn't understand time. Doesn't have time. If it has time, it has creature time. Time for lunch, time for walkies, time for a treat. It doesn't understand time. And it operates in a really classy eternal now. The kind of thing you have to meditate for 30 years in a really cold stone floor in a monastery to get to that kind of be here now condition. It does it automatically. Our human is up here wandering all around the place. We know how that works. So there's a thing about these, I've been using this term internal representations, internal sensory representations. These are internal visual sensory representations. This is an internal auditory sensory representation. This is an internal kinesthetic. This is the territory of internal kinesthetic sensory representations. And this is internal auditory representations as well. But it's not us talking to ourselves. It's our brain listening to other voices or some other significant sound. The sound that the door made when dad slammed it as he walked out on the family and never came back when the person was 4. That can be recorded in there. And when it erupts into the programming, it'll produce a really awful negative K and mess up their day tremendously, or cause them to not want to go on with their project, or cause them to feel worthless because after all, if they had been a really good boy or a girl, dad wouldn't have left. And none of that's conscious, but it just feels really bad.